Second. All right, we are live with the Health, Love, and Life Show. This is Coach Arnie, and I have a very special guest on tonight. He's somebody that I had run into years ago, and we crossed paths just recently through a mutual friend that I ran into through some prospecting that we're all out there doing today. At least we better be. And her and I had some great talks, and she goes, Arnie, I've got something you need to meet. And she sends over this name. I go, wait a minute, Elisa, I know this guy. And I immediately sent him a message, and we hooked up. And then it even got better because this week he sent me over a link because I kept pestering him. And then he was using his technology with me, knowing he probably knew he was driving me crazy. So he's sending me over these technology. So I hit this thing because I was out in Chandler and I was mobile. And I go, wait a minute, he got me on StreamYard too. He's like, this is crazy. So we had a great conversation, and we're ready to go. And he's going to bring some great value here. I call him the tech mechanic because he's looking up stuff that drives me nuts. He's looking up. I know that CC does a lot of this stuff as well, but he has developed some strategies. And then I was doing some more homework on him later this week after we first talked, and I find out that he's on TV, and I'm impressed. So he's going to tell us all about his experiences and what he can do for you guys. I'm just going to ask him some questions, but first of all, Xavier Smith, welcome. And why don't you take a couple minutes here and just introduce yourself to the audience and share whatever you would like with them.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Arnie. Thank you guys for having me on the show. As you heard, my name is Xavier Smith. I have a lot of aliases. They call me Coach X. They call me Mr. XL Smith. Hopefully they don't call me anything outside of my name, but I have many names, but only one mission. I like to say that I've been sent here to impact, inspire, and improve the lives of others on a daily basis. And tonight's no different. I just thankful, grateful for the opportunity to, add some value, come to the table with truth, authenticity, and as I like to call it, excellence, spelled with an X.
I love it. Well, let me ask you a quick question. How did you get started? Because I'm an exercise physiologist, I've been involved with sports and coaching and everything for 40 years. How did you get started in this business, Xavier?
Well, that's a great question, Arnie. Way back long ago, I started asking myself better questions. And I think there's a guy that we have in common a little guy named by the name of Tony Robbins. One of his statements is, if you want a better life, you got to ask yourself better questions. And I was in the military, and I got out here by way of my younger brother. When this does evolve, I'll have to introduce you to him. His name is T. Smith. They call him Coach T. It's funny how they call me Coach X. They call him Coach T. He played football for Arizona State on a scholarship, and he got out here first to Arizona. We come from California. And he was talking into my ear about real estate. And long short, after I got out of the military, I got my real estate license. I sold one house and decided that was not it for me. My heart wasn't in it. And so that's exactly the same time I met my wife. We call her Mighty Mouse. I'm sharing the office with her right now. And she took over the real estate side, which allowed me to kind of dive deep on what I really felt the most positive niche, and that was sharing my military background, my desire to help other people just get better. And that officially started around 2007. I started teaching a boot camp for my real estate office. It was just a bunch of women who were looking for something to do on the weekend, and we met at a park. And it just kind of took off from there. I had no certifications, no official paperwork to say, that I'm an expert, but I knew I just wanted to help. And that's when everything kind of took off from there. Fast forward a few years, I got so passionate about nutrition because before this all took place, I had a heart attack when I was 29. I was
Wow.
still in the Air Force at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, that kind of got my ears perked on learning about nutrition. Like the question I asked myself is, how did I get here to where I'm 29 and my arteries were clogged by 50% with cholesterol? And I'm asking myself, okay, how did I get here? What kind of choices was I making? And it turns out I was making some poor, or as I like to call it, mediocre choices, and developing mediocre habits around those choices. And then the heart attack, I call that my wake-up call. And so that got me curious about how I got there and what I could do to get, reverse that situation. And nutrition was it. I figured that if I dive deep on that, learned as much as I can, I ended up studying over 102 different modalities of eating, different healing methods, and all kinds of stuff through the school that I went to. A year and a half crash course, all online, and I got certified through that. And then I started taking that knowledge and helping everybody else that I could through the path of nutrition, because I'd already started, back in 2007 with personal training, but that just wasn't enough for me. And I wanted to go deeper and help people with the nutrition. Started making some progress and headway with that. And then, because I'm such a believer in taking people's excuses away, I got in life through, Tony Robbins, and got certified under him. And another was taken off the table. If people come to me asking for help with whether it's life, nutrition, or fit, got you. So people will quickly discover if they really want to do the work that's necessary to get next. So I'm the type of guy that's going to take all those excuses away until we really get down to the nitty gritty. Do you really want to get better? Because if you do, that's when I come to play. So hopefully those people that are my perfect match are ready to play.
Yeah, and then one more little side note on our good friend Tony Robbins. He's got the same degree you did, which was the PhD in results.
Yes, exactly.
That's it, because he's that's his formal training right there.
Yeah.
I use that as well with my a good friend of mine who's a coach, who's been my coach for 45 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I share that with him, that all he ever did was help people get results.
That's it.
And that's really important that you said that. So I appreciate that, because people want to hear that. They don't. I remember when I first started getting all these certifications, you put them on your business card so there's no room for anything else. After a while, when you're confident, you just put your name on there. And because people don't care about that stuff. They care about, hey man, can you help me?
That's
That's
it.
what they care about. Can you help me? So let me tell you, what do you enjoy most about what you do?
Ooh, that's a good question. If I were to give you my gut response, what I come back with is seeing the growth and the maturation from someone coming to me, like fresh, kind of like a baby fresh out of the womb. And, they have some issues with their life or fitness or nutrition. And I ask them, some key, I call them power questions. So when people get into my world, or as I like to call it, my vortex of excellence, and they start to realize that I actually care and they feel safe, then their defense mechanisms start to come down, and they realize that they're going to be around and surrounded by someone who's going to keep them accountable and keep them moving forward, knowing that we're going to have setbacks, because let's face it, we're all I come with flaws, but when people realize that someone cares and they're going to keep on track as best as humanly possible, love that I can see someone grow. And when I can when you can see the eyes connect and the light come on and they get something that I've told them or something that I've shared with them, or maybe they come to me and tell me something that they've learned. It's all about the growth. If I can get someone to grow, open up their mind, open up their heart, and expand, and I feel like they can take those wings of theirs and fly on their own, that's a good day at the office for me.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, and let's let me throw you a little curveball here.
Sure.
You are in a space that is crowded, noisy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think it's all about relationships. It's all about business, or it's all about health and wellness.
Yeah.
So you're covering a couple of those areas there. What separates Mr. X, Coach X, from the competition?
Oh man. Well, I have to go back into the chronicles of what other people have said, and the basic thread that you will see, and I'm going to knock on wood first, because fortunately I've got over 100, like this is internet wide, 140 5-star reviews. And wow. I think there's a 4-star review out there, but that's only comes from one person. Everybody else is 5-star. So the thread that you would discover is that I care. And I think, I mean, I'm still kind of an old school guy, but if people know that you care, and they can feel that, not just because you're helping them with, what they hired you for, but when they discover that they can get a whole person approach of solutions that can come from one person, or if I can point people in the direction, even if I don't own the solution, they know that they're going to get service. They're going to get someone who wants to put them first. And I'm talking to the level of, even if I have to, when I first got started, my prices were severely reduced because I wanted to help so many people. So that's the type of that separates me. And I think I give the word personal back in the word personal trainer, because there's a personal touch that I think in this day and age, someone called it the instant satisfaction era. They find somebody that gives them a personal touch. Like I can speak to this today, just earlier, a few hours we got on this call. I took the time to give someone a video and explain a couple of products that she was doing some research on. And she happened to find one of my videos on my YouTube channel. And so from there, she found my Facebook group and asked to join. So we started talking just through Facebook Messenger. She asked me a few questions. I dropped everything. I put together like a 2 or 3 minute video. And because of that video, she ended up buying the product that was a match for her. Nobody else really out there does that because it's so instant. So I think the personal touch, the fact that I care, and I hope that would be enough.
Well, many times it is, because I love the way you said that, because people don't really care about what you know as a fitness professional, as a health professional, until they know how much you care. Right?
Yeah.
And you can generally tell, and they can tell, which is why you've gotten the 5-star reviews, because people can tell when they're around you, because you can see it in their eyes, because they see the fire in your eyes. And it's no different than in the old days, the way you pass on fire. People light their torches on you, and that's what you seem to be bringing to your clients. Because I know you can't always be on, but you're on, right?
This is true.
You're like me. You're gonna have. I know you have ways to kind of decompress a little bit, because it's hard to be on all the time. But that's what champion, to use one of your words, that's what champions do. You know, it's game time, man. You know, it's time to go to war. And you seem to have that pretty locked in, and I know that your clients see that, and that alone will inspire them to do whatever, because you already know that if they do what you ask them to do, they're going to get better. You already know that. That's a given. They don't know that, right? But you do. You just got to keep people. You just got to keep people doing it. Let me ask you another question here. What advice would you give to someone starting out doing what you do today? Because there's a lot. If I go on Instagram, I see, even before COVID, COVID might have wiped some of them out, but there's a lot of young people that are out there giving fitness advice and nutrition advice. I mean, by the thousands. Yeah. And so what advice would you give them today?
Ooh, that's a good one.
July of 2020.
Well, you know, the first gut response, are you ready for this, guys? 2 words. Be patient. That's the first thing I would advise, because like I said, we talked earlier, in this instant satisfaction era that we seem to be in, especially in this field, which you had already mentioned, we are, it's a lot of noise. It's very crowded. And there are a lot of people out there that could, not saying that they do, I'm saying they could take advantage of the naive. So you have a beautiful opportunity to set people up the right way. So if you're out there, the other piece of advice is don't do this for the money only. Do this because you actually want to make a difference. And I think then the money follows you. So if your mindset is money first, you know, there's people out there, there's humans out there that actually use money as their religion. And as a result, their quality of life is a little different than somebody that has the mindset of service first. So for me, you'd have to get crystal clear on your why. If you're here to make a difference, you're going to have some rough days. There's going to be days where you think maybe I'm in the wrong field. Those days will come. But the other side of that coin is this too shall pass. So if you are in this for the long run, then you already are a step ahead of the game. There is a lot of noise, a lot of people doing a lot of stuff. But for me, I look at the crowd and then I go the opposite direction and just try to focus on how can I get 1% better today as a person, and that I get to decide who I'm going to be tomorrow and the day after that. And then the right people will migrate towards that energy, and you know, always want to do right by them and lead them to a higher ground when they are ready. I don't know if I'm probably answered like 3.
No. You're I think you're spot on. 2 things there I really appreciate. Being patient, I think is massive, especially with younger people, and then your why, your purpose. Because if that purpose is dialed in, and it's hard, but if you're doing it for the right reasons, whether it be to feed your family, or if you're doing it for whatever it might be, something that's going to make you put those feet on the floor every morning, that makes a big deal. Because I think you're right. It's not about money unless that money is going to be used in the right areas. And I'm not going to tell somebody what to do with their money, but it's got to be the right reason, or it won't work. It won't work. Hey, Xavier, hang on. We're going to take about a 20-second break.
Sure.
And then we'll come right back with our next question. So hang on, everybody. All right, we are back with the Health, Love, and Life Show, and we are here with Coach X, Xavier Smith, and he is bringing it all to the house tonight with his excellent attitude, inspiration, and whatever else he's going to tell us. But we're having a great conversation tonight, and he's given us some inside baseball info on what it takes to be a great coach, especially in the health wellness space. So I've got a couple other questions here for him. What is one thing you would do in your business right now if you knew you couldn't fail?
If I knew I couldn't fail, man.
Yeah. Give me something.
Well, you know what? I would, it's going to sound kind of silly, but I would do more live events. I would be available for more people. Just give my energy. I'd love to set up a place where I can, just be available for an hour, maybe 2 hours at a time, and just kind of pour my heart into those who perhaps have a mindset that, oh, I can't afford this, or this will never happen. Because I had that. I'm going to tell you a story, Arnie. I was locked up in prison for 17 years. I bet you didn't know that one, did you?
No.
So I was locked up for 17 years, man. And it's funny because I never set foot in an actual jail cell.
Oh.
What I'm talking about is being locked up right here, mentally. I was bitter, mad, frustrated, angry, just pissed off at the world. And the source of that pain was my parents. And it was just a perceived pain because I came up thinking that they didn't, or they did or didn't do something or enough for me. And so as a result, I wore this fresh out of prison look on my face 24/7. It was my defense mechanism to keep people at a distance, because my thought process was, if my parents could hurt me, what's to stop a stranger from doing the same thing? So 17 years of carrying that weight, I decided to I made a decision to get on the phone, call my parents, and let them off the hook. Because over those years, I started realizing that it wasn't them, it was me. I was the one at the bottom of that pool with a ball and chain wrapped around me, but I was the only one with the key. So that key was forgiveness. And my saying now is, if I wanted to truly live, I've got to learn how to forgive. And that's when I got on the phone, I said what I had to say to my parents. They responded, I let them off the hook. And I'm telling you, Arnie, the moment I hung that phone up, that's when my life changed. Now, it doesn't mean that it was yellow brick road all to the very end. It just means I was willing to do the work, get creative. And that started some years ago. And now I get this smile off my face,
Well, I love that. It's interesting because I had a similar experience with my dad. And I went through some deep counseling work about 20 years ago, and actually called him and asked for forgiveness for the bitterness that I had against him. He didn't really understand it, but it wasn't about him. It was about me.
Yeah.
And then when he passed away, I just had some weird stories in my head that I was telling myself. And I remember I was working with a doctor, and I still use this to this day. He goes, Arn, he did the best he knew how.
Yep.
He did know how to be a dad. And, and as I evaluated it allowed me to really set him free even in his passing.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know how to be a dad. And so why was I putting those expectations on him? It's like being in a relationship with somebody, whether it be business or intimate. If they come to the table and they don't have the skills, that's on you, man. That's on me for bringing them to the table. I can't make them change.
Yep.
Now, if my dad was like, man, that you and I, we've made massive changes in our lives. You did. Yep. If my dad was that kind of guy, he would have broke out the books. There was no, obviously, internet and all this other stuff back then, but there was all other kind of sources that people could have gone to. there were, he could have found them. If you're hungry enough, you find them, right? If you want to eat, but you got to want to eat. And most people don't. Most people don't want to change. And so he did the best he knew how. And for that, I mean, I released some of that. And I was like you, that was one of the greatest things that I could have done in my life. So I appreciate you telling that story, because that's huge. And plus whoever sees this about you, that kind of vulnerability makes you even more powerful. It makes you even more excellent.
Well, I appreciate it. I do appreciate that.
It really does. So let me ask you another question here as we roll along here. Because I look at you as one of the experts in the field. You've been doing this a while now.
Right.
We've got a crazy situation going on right now. You've got gyms closed, and you've got a lot of different problems in the health of our country right now. Mental, physical, spiritual. Mm-hmm. Do you see any trends coming, Xavier? Do you have a crystal ball?
Well, my crystal ball is largely fueled by faith. And the reason I say that is because, there's really the stuff that we're talking about right now, largely outside of my control. So what I can control is me. And so if we're talking about time, because that's probably one of the most valuable resources that we all have, right? Mm-hmm. So if we agree on that, I myself am going to spend my time focusing only on what I truly desire at the heart level. And what I'm concentrating on is positive, peace, tranquility, expansion, growth, all that stuff that, we really, really, truly need. We may not necessarily see it because the mainstreams of the way we digest our information focus more on the stuff that sells. And that the stuff that sells doesn't necessarily fuel our soul. So I would much rather spend time on, creating my life instead of reacting to this life, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So for me, I get up every day. I'm asking myself power questions. One of them is, what's possible for my life today? And I'm ready to accept all the positive things that are going to happen to me and others. So let's celebrate that. And then I just keep looking for those small clues. And it could be something so insignificant as, thank you for a roof over my head. Thank you for a bed that I can actually sleep in, because somebody right now has to walk 3, 4, 10 miles to get mediocre water and that's a good day. So while I'm in this beautiful country, mistakes and problems, all of that, I cannot really complain. I'm sitting in a desk. I'm talking to you. We got the internet. Somebody out there right now has nothing. Who am I to complain? So that's kind of what my crystal ball says. As far as trends, I think more and more and more, everybody's going to be doing something from home, because everybody's, concerned about health and safety. So we're definitely going to be, I think this being, meeting together like this is the new networking. I can be more efficient this way, because when I'm done with you, I can, go tend to my sister-in-law, or, just do life. And so can you. But in the process, we've made a deeper connection, and somebody else is going to see this. Perhaps they get inspired. So this is how we change the world, my opinion.
Right. And it's another tool. I mean, it's another tool that, honestly, I think you and I both know that, especially as bodywork people,
yes,
that when you have somebody in front of you that you can guide them through the process, it's easier, and they can feel it, and you can correct them quicker. Is it, even if you were on a stage? That's why I love what you said a few minutes ago about being on that stage in front of a few hundred people that come in to see you, and and you get them up and moving and energized, and there's nothing like that. You can't generate that on. It's like difference between watching a baseball game on TV or the football game on TV and being in the stadium.
Yes.
There's nothing like that, man, because that energy is just around you. But at the same time, that puts it more on us.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to be on our game all the time. Because if I'm sitting here looking at my phone, I've been guilty of that, or someone's sending me a text, or, something's going on out here. You know what I'm saying? I've got to stay focused. and so I've got to be on to keep whoever I'm in a conversation with on, because I may lose a contract because of that. See?
That's possible. Yep.
I may lose a contract. But if I'm with somebody, I'm with them. I mean, that's one of my love languages is quality time. So I appreciate, as long as I'm being appreciated, obviously, because we've all been with duds,
yes,
that don't want, they're not into it. And it's like the difference between pulling a rope and pushing a rope, right?
Yeah, right.
Pushing a rope is really hard.
I know, that's a good one. I like that.
And steal it. But what I'm trying to say is, but you're right, because you and I had some just amazing conversations with people yesterday. One was in the San Francisco area. The other one was on his way he had just arrived in Minnesota driving from Denver. So here I was having conversations with people, that I never could have had. I couldn't have met them because it wasn't going to work.
Exactly.
So we talked. Yeah. Great conversations, great. And then, and before that, I had a conversation with a doctor in the UK.
Wow.
So there you go.
It's so funny. I just made a friend from Romania just yesterday. So
Transylvania.
Right.
But you're right. And but that's why individuals like you that are learning these platforms, that are learning the tools, become even more valuable, because old guys like me need that. And if you have the ability to teach, which you do, and you run into somebody that has a teachable spirit, like hopefully I do, then you have a good combination. And your clients, if there's enough pain to lose weight, get in better shape, fix their relationships, they're going to listen to you. And that's important. Let me jump ahead here. In the time we have left, I got a couple more questions I want you to.
Sure.
We'll take another little swerve here. Describe the strangest or funniest incident you've experienced in your business over the last few years. Strangest or funniest?
Well, in my business, it's kind of embarrassing, but I was on stage delivering a speech to a young crowd. It was a crowd of about 15 to about 20-ish. And it was about 600 or 700 people. I get up on stage, didn't realize that my zipper was down. And so I had to have one of the people in the audience kind of try to get my attention. And so I had to kind of play it off, and I kept it rolling because I actually started by doing a dance. I don't know if you remember the song by Pharrell, the Happy song.
Oh yeah.
That's one of my favorites, man. That really gets me moving, gets the moving. So fortunately, I had that to kind of form the crowd, and done with this. We all felt like family anyway. So I just addressed it and kept.
It's funny that you bring that up, because one of the top things, there's three things that are important for developing successful businesses and teams and in businesses. And one of the first things is creating safety. And one of the best ways of doing that is creating that family feeling, whether it's a sports team, a military team, or business. And one of the things about families that I like to talk about is families fight a lot, but then they love a lot as well. But they love a lot. And so when you create, and I like to tell the story of Google and Larry Page when he's over there early on when they first started. He would allow them at least once a week to all gather together and ask him anything they wanted without any repercussions at all. Total safety. Nice. And when people can come to Mr. X or Coach Arnie or whatever and say, I got a question. If you can take those barriers down and for them to feel safe to that they can share with you, man, I tell you, I think it makes what you do, so much more powerful. And so I'm glad I'm glad you're vulnerable because, that I think that's important stuff.
Yes.
So that was good. So what have you found to be the most effective way to promote your business, Xavier? What have you found the best way to promote what you do?
Well, that's a pretty good question. And my gut response on that one is kind of adopting what Tony Robbins did when he first got started. Find somebody to serve the hell out of them, and then ask them to say something else to someone else or say something positive about that experience to someone else. And fortunately, we are in that day and age where we can get testimonials, put them on our Google business page. And that has been the bread and butter, to be honest with you, Arnie, is asking for reviews. And they actually.
And that's where I've been horrible.
Yeah. So, I think that's why we cross paths, man, because I think I can help you at least evolve in that area. Because without that, I tried one time to put my money in paid ads, and that was a horrible experience. Just put it that way. So I'm not ready for that, but I have been blessed to get referral and testimonial. People message me on Facebook, and I do have an online store, which makes it slightly easier than most trainers in my position. I mean, granted, there's probably a top 2% out there that's making 6 and 7 figures by training. I'm not there yet, but I definitely see the light toward that path, and I'm having fun with where I'm at now. And I think that is another separator from, all those people that, just want to have everything now. I'm okay with the slow boat to China because at least if I own my process and I own the speed, I don't have to ever turn back and turn my boat around or reverse directions, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And, in happiness it's easy. It's something that people all want. I like to tell people, hey, look, you're standing on happiness. Just be kind to somebody. And it'll change your day in an instant.
Exactly.
But chasing happiness is futile.
Oh, man.
It doesn't work. So the fact that you can be happy at wherever you're at today, whatever income level you're at today, it will only get better.
Yeah.
Because the other way where you're at a high level and you're miserable, it's a lot harder to stay there.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to stay there. So I love that because and you're practicing what you're preaching. You're practicing patience. Practicing patience. How would you like people to describe Coach X? How you do your business in one sentence? You talk about referrals, testimonials. How would you like them to describe Coach X in one sentence?
He's just a guy that cares and wants to see you succeed first.
You've thought about that.
Yeah.
Right?
I tell you, man, I ask myself these power questions almost daily. So, in the military, you're taught to be prepared anyway. So yeah, these are the things that, if I'm asked and if I'm thinking about my death and, what I want on my tombstone, those are the things that I would like, hopefully, knock on wood again, the majority of people would, have that position about me. But here's another thing, Arnie, and this I know to be true as well. No one on earth, okay, including Jesus himself, is universally liked. And there are a lot of people, gurus out there that say if you are not liked by something or someone, then you're doing things the right way. And so knowing that, I know some people out there they just don't like you for the sake of not liking you. They may not even know you, but that's just their motto, because I used to be that type of guy too. So I know there's people out there that they don't like positive, or they don't like the light, so they just want to stay in the dark. And
no, I agree 100%. I like to tease people that I say, well, as long as 51% like me, I guess I'm doing okay, because most likely close to half don't. But that's because you're exactly right. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And going back to the light, when people see fire in your eyes, Xavier, they're going to do two things. They're either going to run away from that fire, or they're going to run to it, and they want to know what's burning inside you, man. And that's exactly what you're doing. Because when they see that bright smile and the fire in your eyes, man, they want to know what the heck's going on with you, dude. I want some of that. Right. And that's when they're lighting that torch. Here's my torch. Light my torch, man. Right?
Yes.
It's true. But it's true. But there's a good bunch of people that'll run away from that. They go, man, that guy's crazy. There's something wrong with him.
Right.
Right. I know. Yep. I hear you on that.
I've been there.
Yeah, we've both been there. You know, let's take the last couple minutes here. I'm going to ask you something. Is there anything else that I haven't asked that you'd like to talk about in the last couple minutes here? And then take some time to let people know how they can find you and anything else.
Well, I think we covered most of the bases. If anything else, man, I just would love for people to know that life is really a game. And if you treat it like this is my saying, you better get good at having fun with life, because if you're not careful and mindful, life will have fun with you at your expense. So when I was ready to stop learning those life lessons and ready to take control and create my life instead of wait on a life, just a mediocre life, then that's when I start to realize that I kind of like Oprah. I can have everything I want as long as I'm willing to get it piece by piece. And so just keep evolving, keep getting better. 1%, 10%, doesn't matter. You just got to keep that train of excellence, as I like to say, moving forward.
Wow, I love it. So how can people find you? Where can they find you? How can they get a hold of you? Give them your phone number. Do whatever you need to do, brother. I'm telling you.
Well, just call. The first thing you can do is go to my website. I would appreciate some love. My goal, my 90-day blitz goal, is to get my subscribership up. I think I got over 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So if you don't mind, I give you a big Hercules if you do. Go to CoachXTV.com and hit that subscription button. Hit that little bell so you're notified each and every time I come out with some excellent content, and we can be friends.
I love it. So is there any other way that they can find you right now, or is that the best way to find you?
That's the best way. But if you really have some true desire to break the mold of mediocrity and start marching, walking, crawling towards excellence in the way you define it, then you can always send me an email, mrxlsmith@gmail.com.
I love it. Well, listen, Xavier, thank you so much for being vulnerable. Thank you for coming on in short notice and sharing your story. I know there's people out there that are looking for you because they're hurting as well, and they need someone like you to kind of keep them accountable and guide them along their path, wherever that might be. And I appreciate you again. You and I will be in touch. But thank you so much, and please have a great rest of your evening, my friend.
All right, you too, my friend. You do the same.
Right, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.